Welcome to the Becoming Sound podcast, where we dive into the tough stuff and try to find the humor in the hot mess of being an adult child. Join me as we peel back the layers on growing up in dysfunction, navigating substance abuse, mental health challenges, and everything in between. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Becoming Sound and Oversharing with Shannon. I'm Krista.
I'm Shannon. Hi.
And we're glad you're here today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about all that is a hot mess of menopause and the hot mess of me today.
Should we tell them how this morning went?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute getting all this equipment set up. Like it just didn't want to work.
I just finished saying, if this is your last shot, if we can't get this shit together, that's it. We're shutting it down.
Yeah.
We're going to start another day. But
Exactly.
It worked. So here we are.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got crazy Winnie. Hey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what? I think it's a conversation that women are kind of having off the cuff, when they get together, especially our age, right? We're in midlife. But we're not really talking about how it's really impacting us. Like our mental health, maybe, not just physically, because the physical symptoms are sometimes easy to talk about.
Yeah.
Some are and some aren't.
Yeah. Like menopause, it's like the big, scary word. And
yeah, exactly. But seeing as May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I think, don't quote me on that, but I think it is. I think what we really want to talk about too is, on top of the physical stuff and what's happening, is what's really happening that affects our mental health.
Yeah.
Like what's happening to us during perimenopause, for sure, because that's when all the hormones are really fluctuating, and how that really affects us. And we're really not talking about that part.
Yeah.
Because I think we're afraid to, right?
Well, afraid to, but also so friggin' in the dark.
Yeah.
Like I've only just understood so much about menopause. And I say so much, but like it's such a tiny little drop in the big bucket. But just starting to understand and make connections and connect the dots from kind of my experience and realizing after the fact, oh, so that's what that was. Thanks, doctors. Thanks,
Don't
mental
get me
health people.
started on the doctor stuff.
Me too. Like it's just frustrating because now I feel like I probably would have understood sooner and maybe dealt with things differently, been on top of things sooner when I realized that that's what was happening. But I just didn't. And, how many doctors did you see over the course of that time for different ailments or different things going on that I saw? And it's like, not one person says the word.
I know. And it's
like
kind of
looking
like
at your
being
age,
gaslit.
totally being gaslit, not kind of like it's all in your head, or well, there's nothing wrong with you, we've run tests, there's nothing going on. And it's such bullshit, because it's like, how is it, I find out through freaking social media, through Instagram, through whatever, that because there's finally women doctors out there who have a platform to be able to say, hey, this is actually
And
what
just
those
now
things
it's
are.
starting to come out,
Yeah.
right?
Whereas it's like back then, I say back then, but I want to say probably 5-8 years ago, when I was kind of going through some of the beginning parts of it, not one person I saw
I know, me too.
was telling me that that's what it was. And I had an actually relatively easy time with menopause compared to some people, compared
I
to
had
what
a
you've
rough
had to
go.
deal with.
Yeah.
It's been, knock wood, kind of a good easy run, I guess, in the big picture. But there were definitely things along the way where that's exactly what was happening, and I had no clue, and I thought I was losing it.
Yeah.
Like,
Me too. And I went to several doctors, and for this situation and that situation, and someone put you on hormones and some don't, and there's different opinions about that. And we're not doctors, we're not medical professionals.
Yeah.
This is purely just our own experience, life experience with going through it. And I think that there's stuff to be learned from people who've gone through it, and why we're not talking to women who are a little bit younger is beyond me. Like I plan on talking to my daughters about this in their 30s, because this is the kind of information when your body kind of changes in your 30s a little bit. For me, around 33, 35, I could feel my body starting to change. It wasn't as easy to lose weight. I just felt different. And my body shape was changing, right? My skin was changing.
Mhm.
And so, but honestly, my mom didn't really go through a big menopause or anything. And so she didn't talk to me about it until I was in the thick of it. And then she has the audacity to say, "Oh, I think I had a hot flash, but I'm not sure." And I'm like, really? Like,
Is
so
that that
sorry,
drive?
mom, but
I remember
seriously,
you telling me about a drive where you were going somewhere, like a long road trip with your
I
mom,
don't
like back
know.
then. You were going down east, and I remember you
I
saying, like, you
can't
were having hot
remember.
flashes on the drive, and you were just
It could have been to
dying,
Prince George.
just
I
in
can't
a
remember.
rage, driving so friggin' hot, and yeah,
Yeah,
your mom's
I
like,
don't
"Maybe
know.
I did. I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
really."
and I'm like, that's not even fair.
You're not
But
it's not helpful.
but that being said, she kind of had mentioned that to me before.
Yeah,
And so I thought naively, oh, well, I'm probably going to take after my mom because I do in every other sense, like
yeah,
my looks, everything.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, so this should be a breeze.
yeah.
And I will never forget. So I went to Costa Rica with some friends and my friend Lori, and I hope she's listening. She does listen to this. She was going through some serious hot flashes. And of course, it's very humid there and it's hot.
Yeah.
But we're walking along the beach this one day and she literally had to sit down under a tree. And I mean, like, it was hot, but she was sweating profusely and she's like fanning
Oh.
herself. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe it's just the heat. Like I'm trying to rationalize how bad it is, right?
Yeah,
Because I couldn't understand. I really didn't understand. I didn't have any knowledge of it. And so to see her in that state, I was like, I kind of thought it was a little bit humorous, but then I felt bad for her. And then I'm like, is it the heat? Like, what's causing that to happen? I
yeah,
really didn't know.
yeah,
So that kind of stuck in my mind because the first time I had a really true hot flash, I'll never forget, I was working at a dealership and I was in the office and there are people sitting across from me at my desk and I'm trying to help them. And literally beads of sweat are rolling down my forehead. And they're talking to me. I'm not hearing a word they're saying. And I'm like, I had to take a deep breath and they're looking at me. I must have been white or something like when you all of a sudden
yeah.
you have the flu and that washes over you.
Mhm.
I'm not kidding. I thought I was going to internally combust in that moment. And I said, "Excuse me for a minute." So politely, I walked out of my office and went right in front of the air conditioner and just opened my shirt.
Oh my god.
I was dying and I had to go outside.
Yeah,
And I was like, wow. And I thought immediately back to that scenario with Lori. And I'm like, God, I feel for her. I
yeah,
get it. I really get it. And I'll never forget that.
yeah,
And I had hot flashes like that for almost a year.
yeah,
It was rough, rough. And I really didn't understand. I knew I was in perimenopause, but I really had no idea how intense that
yeah,
could feel.
yeah.
And so you kind of feel a little crazy, to be honest. I feel
Mhm,
like, am I losing my mind? Like, what is happening to my body? What can I take? How do I
mhm,
fix this?
mhm.
Because you're in a state. Let me tell you, for all of those women out there who have been in a state, and then on top of the hot flashes come like a list of other
That's what I was just
symptoms.
gonna say. It's like, men who think of menopause as hot flashes
Yeah.
and think that that's it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a laundry list of symptoms,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
there's so much of it is related to the loss of estrogen, right? And
Yes.
so it's like it takes research to like kind
Mhm.
of dig in and realize like what that is related to, like how many things are reliant on estrogen. And when your
Oh, yeah.
estrogen is lowering or dropping suddenly,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, you've got the hot flashes, but you've also got aches, you've got joint pain unexplained, you've got anxiety out of the blue that you never had
Mhm.
before, you've got
Um,
skin issues, you've
I
got,
got a list.
yeah, you've got like weight gain, you've
Yeah.
got like just this huge list of things. And then it's like you kind of get gaslit going to doctors because they're telling you there's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with you and they run tests and you're perfectly fine, but you know you're not fine. And so
Mhm.
then you start questioning your own sanity, like, you
Yeah,
know?
100%. So
Yeah.
here's some of the most common and most disruptive mood swings and irritability. And if you have a partner in the house, for sure, they will feel this.
Yeah.
And you feel bad when this happens because you could be snappy and then realize it's not their fault. You're not lashing out at them, but that's what it feels like to
Mhm.
someone else, right?
Mhm.
Anxiety out of nowhere,
Mhm.
low mood, depression, like depressive feelings, emotional sensitivity. So this is something I had very frequently, was crying for no reason.
Mm.
Like I wouldn't even be sad and all of a sudden I'm crying and I don't
You're
even know
just
why.
completely
Yeah, just
dysregulated.
dysregulated.
Yeah.
Anger or rage, like honestly, I'm post-menopausal, but if you would have saw me setting up this equipment today, you you would have realized, oh, hot damn, I think she's still in it.
Yeah.
I,
I was like
I was having
I was
some
like, "We
serious
need to get back." She
rage,
she's really mad.
anger or rage spikes. That's what was happening today. So this is another one that I wasn't hearing often enough. And so I was relating it to something was wrong with me. Was loss of motivation and feeling just flatness.
Mm.
Like that lethargy, that um just I don't care,
Like, just disconnected.
disconnected,
Yeah.
kind of like it's it's hard to actually have the range of emotions because you just kind of feel flatlined.
Mm.
So I would go through bouts of that as well and think, am I bored? Am I disconnected with my life? What's going on with me?
Mm.
And when I think back now, this is when a lot of women become disconnected from their partners and not
Mm.
meaning to, but really just feeling like nobody understands them.
Yeah.
And it feels like the kind of happiness and joy gets a little bit flatlined. The only thing I can relate this to, because I have been on antidepressants and is when I was on them when I was younger,
Mhm.
like flatline of emotions.
Mhm.
That's what it felt like. And
Yeah,
it
like
makes me think,
dissociated.
yeah, dissociated. It
Yeah.
made me think, wow, that medication may have been screwing with my hormones
Oh,
and
absolutely.
right, and
Yeah.
making those symptoms come to the top
Yeah.
because I wasn't angry anymore, but I also wasn't joyful and happy and
Mhm. Mhm.
and so that's something I don't think we talk about a lot, is that feeling. And then difficulty concentrating, brain fog. I mean,
Mhm. Yeah.
there's a lot, right? And these
Yeah.
are just some of the symptoms, but
Yeah.
I think that the more we talk about it and the more the more we learn, then the more we understand about ourselves that it's a transition we're going through.
Mhm.
And when the doctors tell you what you're experiencing in menopause is normal, it's not normal. This
Mm.
isn't normal for us. I think, and I truly believe, this is my opinion. Please don't take this as science, but I think there's a correlation between how we live in Western society, the rushing, the stress, the burnout,
Mhm.
the the way our lives are structured and the go, 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 the food that we're eating, processed, all of that stuff. I think it contributes to how difficult your transition might go.
Mm.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I feel it does. And that's just me paying attention to my diet and maybe doing a little research online to see if there is a correlation or not,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know if there is. I just think that some of the extreme cases, and everyone's different, could be related to stuff that's going on. And so when I think about that, I think about all the stress that I was in during that time when my son was going through his addiction.
Yeah.
And that was an extremely stressful time for
Yeah.
me. It was an extremely stressful time for me with my kids and in my family.
Mhm.
And I truly believe that that could have um, contributed to some of the extreme hormone
Yeah, for
fluctuations.
sure.
But I also have had a partial hysterectomy. And so that's something else that I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I knew that I honestly didn't know. I thought that because I still had my ovaries that I wouldn't be go into menopause right away.
Mhm.
but something does happen even when you don't have your uterus that you actually are fast tracked into that. It might not happen right away because if you have everything removed, it's instant.
Mm.
Like you have no line to any hormones
Mm.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
But a partial, it's you still have them, but all of your parts work together. And so when there's one missing,
Mm.
the other ones will start slowing down and stopping
Yeah.
faster, right? And
Mhm.
so I was kind of that first year after was fine. And then all of a sudden, the year after that, I was slammed into it.
So let me ask you this. When you had your partial hysterectomy,
Hmm.
did you ever have these types of conversations with your doctors at that time of like what to expect
No,
hormonally? Interesting.
zero.
Why?
I don't
Like,
know.
why? I know
No,
why
it
you don't know, but
wasn't
like,
even
why?
mentioned though. Yeah, like it wasn't even a topic of conversation. I had a fantastic doctor
Yeah.
and I loved her. She delivered my twins. She was amazing.
Hmm.
But it wasn't even on the table to talk about.
Yeah.
I didn't think to ask about it because I honestly just was clueless.
Hmm.
Um, I I had this concept of menopause or
Hmm.
perimenopause, what was going to happen, but my mom had already told me she didn't have it.
Yeah.
And I did not correlate the two with me being fast tracked into it.
Yeah.
And
Well, why would you?
yeah,
Because you think your professional doctor would brace you
maybe mention
for what
something.
might be
Yeah.
coming. Yeah.
Maybe a pamphlet, like a little brochure
On
saying,
the way out.
yeah,
Hey,
oh, hey, you might want to read up on this.
FYI.
Anything,
Yeah.
right?
You know
Yeah.
what I actually had I certainly don't know the statistics, but I have heard this like multiple times
Hmm.
that in doctor training, it's such a tiny little
Yeah.
fraction that's even devoted to talking about menopause or what it is. But male health, man, it is covered front to back, but women's health is like, only just in the last probably 10 years, I think, is it
Yeah.
more where it's actually like looked into. Like it's just,
Yeah.
for people who,
We have to fight to
yeah,
get.
like I saw a meme the other day and it was like for people who or for a society that's like so hell bent on monitoring women's bodies and
Hmm.
and telling us what to do with them and regulating them, they sure have done jack shit in
Yeah.
terms of investing in
Hmm.
researching it and understanding
Isn't
it,
that funny?
isn't it?
Yeah. I
Like
don't
it
know.
just kind
Tell
of
us what you think.
it blows my mind
Yeah,
actually. Like,
it does.
so same similar for me in that you're with the partial hysterectomy, you kind of had that journey and that
Yeah.
was kind of a shock. And for me, it was that I had been on the pill when I was younger
Hmm.
and then went back on the pill kind of in my 30s probably. Again, in hindsight, because my period was suddenly all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Hi, early sign of perimenopause, right?
Yeah.
But no idea. My period is kind of everywhere again and thought, you know what? I just kind of would like to know when my
Hmm.
period's coming. So I went back on the pill and my doctor was more than happy to prescribe it back to me, which
Yep.
is fine, right? Um, but then I remember going out to dinner with a friend of mine and she was dealing with menopause
Hmm.
and she had been on a wait list for a year for the women's clinic and for like a menopause clinic
Yeah.
basically. And she was telling me about this and she's like, "Well, where are you on your," and we're the same age, like,
Yeah.
"Where are you on your kind of journey?" And I'm
Journey.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know." Like, because realized, "Oh, well, because I am on the pill and it completely masks everything."
Yes.
Because so you're getting periods regularly because your pill is telling you, "Okay, it's time to have a period. It's been 28 days," or
Yeah.
whatever. So I realized, "Okay, well, I don't need to be on the pill, so why am I?" And I have no idea where I'm at.
Hmm.
So I just decided to stop taking it
Yeah.
just to see. And lo and behold, I was friggin' thrust into full on menopause
Yeah.
symptoms because suddenly they're not being masked by these,
Yeah.
hormone, whatever, like that's in the
Yeah.
pill.
That's so true.
And
I've
so,
heard that too.
yeah, so suddenly there I was. And I did not get one more period after that. Like that's when my period stopped.
Really?
I had, I think like a bleed through, like a bit of a spot, like I was tracking it and I had a bit of a spot, like, um, maybe 2 or 3 months later, I kind of got like a little something and then nothing again. And then maybe another month later, I got like a little something and then nothing. And that was basically the end of my period, which
Yeah.
meant I probably would have naturally been in
In
menopause already,
perimenopause, yeah.
perimenopause, and I
Yep,
had no idea.
yeah.
Also was going through, but prior to going off the pill, but was going through like little weird things like frozen shoulder out of the
Mm.
blue. Remember I had, and it was
Yeah,
like a
that's
year of
right.
trying to understand
Yeah,
what is wrong with my shoulder. I hadn't heard it. I had been in a minor fender bender. I thought, did I pull something and I didn't realize it? Multiple doctors, my
yeah,
family doctor. I had been to physio. I had ultrasounds on. I had multiple
yeah.
health professionals. Not one person mentions until I discover years after the fact, oh, did you know frozen shoulder is actually an early warning sign of perimenopause coming?
Yeah,
I had frozen shoulder. It was like glaring. Not one person said,
yeah,
hey, how old are you? Did you know that that's
I
actually
know.
on the list? Nope, didn't know that.
Like, it's so vast what happens to your body when those hormones aren't present anymore or when
Mhm.
they're starting to decline because perimenopause is that whole section of transition. Menopause is actually when you're done. Like
You're done.
that's your
Yeah, yeah,
you've
yeah.
stopped, right? That is when you're and literally postmenopausal is just for the rest of your life after that.
Mhm.
And when people say that all of these symptoms, you were only hearing a few, and there's so much more that happens to your physical body, and that in turn affects your mental health,
Mhm.
it's so vast
Yeah.
what estrogen actually does in your body. And
Mhm.
the workings of our entire system as women. And that leads me to think like your skin starts changing. And yes, we're going into like we're in middle age, but we're also going to be entering into our senior years eventually.
Mhm.
But it's like I look at my face in my early 50s and I'm like, what has happened? My face, my skin has changed. It just doesn't respond anymore like
Mhm.
to just regular,
Mhm.
lotion and
Mhm.
treatments and I don't look the way I used to. And that can be mentally hard for women. We don't
Mhm.
talk about that,
Mhm.
right? And then you wonder why you see all of these. It's the billions of dollar industry
Mhm.
that is face creams for middle-aged women.
Mhm.
Like this industry, if even if you click on one thing, your algorithm is going to shift in a way that has never shifted
Yeah.
and nothing works.
Yeah.
Nothing, it's all surface stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
From what I've found or seen, and don't get me started on the amount of products I've bought in the past, right? And I know I'm not alone,
Yeah.
but it affects you because no one really talks about that part about going from being younger, like in your 30s, 40s, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're shifting into a completely different era in your life.
Your skin is different. Your hair
Yeah,
is different.
everything. My hair
Yeah.
falls out
Yeah, me
way
too.
more than it used to.
Yeah.
But this should be a time when we are actually celebrating transitioning into a different
Mhm.
stage in life. And a lot of women are stuck trying to still be that age.
Yeah, trying to fight it.
Yeah, they're trying to fight it. They're trying to stay back there and then they're depressed or they're having feelings and struggles with their anxiety and all this other stuff
Mhm.
because that's not something that we embrace. Aging isn't something we embrace in our society.
Yeah.
It's something we're trying to fight and push down and
So
combat with lotions on
yeah,
top of lotions and
right. So when you're going through menopause anyway,
mhm.
and your hormones are all over the place or
Yeah.
gone or whatever, like if you loss of estrogen or whatever. So you're kind of all over the place anyway. Your skin is changing, your hair is changing.
Mhm.
You feel like you don't look the way you used to look. You're not happy with that. You're doing all
Yeah.
these products that aren't doing what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And so then we're buying into this fight your
Yeah.
age, right?
Just fight
Fight
it.
it, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to just embracing it. But it's
Yeah.
hard to do that when you're also going through menopause and you don't always have control over your emotions or how you're feeling
No.
about things. And sometimes you go into a depression because you're kind of all over the
Yeah.
place. My friend actually, speaking of skin, my friend just mentioned to me when she knew that we were going to be doing an episode on menopause. She's like, yeah, can you address the fact that, I go on, how did she say? I went on estrogen,
Yeah.
as a
Replacement, like
hormone
a
replacement
hormone
therapy,
replacement, yeah.
and she's happy that she did because she was having such a hard time,
Mhm.
with a lot of the different parts of menopause, but a big part of it is also kind of how she was feeling, her mood, her
Right.
right?
Her
And
mental
mental
state. Yeah.
state. And so when she went on the estrogen, I think that that definitely helped that. And
Mhm.
she, I think, feels a lot better and she's really happy that she did it.
Mhm.
I never did hormone replacement
I
therapy. I know
didn't.
a lot of people who did. I kind of raw dogged it through and
Mhm.
it seems like I came out okay, but
Yeah.
some people have to. And, you know, but she's like, can you address the fact that like you go on estrogen to try to combat
Yeah.
all of these other things that are happening because of menopause. And then then you're dealing with, you know, skin like pimples and things like that, things that you dealt with when you were a teenager. And
I
now
know.
all suddenly it's full circle again. You're taking this to try to make yourself feel better, but then you're dealing with,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, like
breakouts and
blemishes and
shit like
breakouts and
that.
stuff.
It's
I
just
have
like,
heard
you
that.
can't fucking win. Like, you can't
We can't
win.
win. No. And I did not go on hormone replacement, even though I was offered. That was the first thing my doctor offered. It was like an instant, I can put you on hormone replacement.
Yeah.
I didn't know enough about it, but I had heard some good things. I had heard some horror
Our mom's
stories.
generation was like, don't do
Yeah,
it.
don't do it. Like
Yeah.
100% don't. So I was a little scared and I said, and I declined. I said, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just see how it goes. About 2 years later, when I was almost through it because I had been you get fast tracked through it. And I went back to her and I said, I changed my mind.
So about
I mean,
those
about
hormones.
those hormones. I really like to take a lot of them right
Yeah.
now, right? And she's like, well, it's not it's easier to start at the beginning, not so much when you're almost through it. And then you're going to throw your body into something else that it's all of a
She's like,
sudden
"The window's
the window's
closing."
almost
You're
closed,
like,
right?
"Open it."
And
I want
open it.
it.
And I'm like, okay, okay, whatever.
Uh,
And then I talked to other women kind of along my journey and that have said, hormone replacement has been a lifesaver for them.
yeah,
And they really didn't go through all of the stuff I went
that's
through
right.
because they started on that right away
Yeah.
when they first went into perimenopause. And so it really levels you out and stuff. And
Again, had
I
we been more educated
yeah,
about it,
more
maybe
educated. And there's some side effects to it too. And
Mhm.
so just having all of that information is not something we're given at all.
But you know what? Can I go back to something you said when I think when, you were talking about, like, doctors will say, "Well, this is normal."
Yeah.
And you're like, "It's not fucking normal,
No.
actually," right? And it's not, but they just normalize it as if, well, you just have it's just something you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I fight against that, actually. It's like, why?
Me too.
Why, though? Why
Yeah.
do I just have to deal with it? If there's something that I can do, take,
Yeah.
whatever, that's going to lessen what I'm dealing with and make this more manageable and get me through it, why not? Why wouldn't
I
I?
know.
And it's like, again, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And
Exactly.
like, had we been armed,
Yeah.
you had said something like, you know, I'm going to have this conversation with my girls when they're 30. I truly feel, Krista, we've talked about this with other things, with
Yeah.
mental health, with whatever. I think the tides are changing, and I don't think we need to talk to our girls because they're going to be so armed with
Well, I
information
think
and
they
with
are.
knowledge.
I think they are, but it's not something that's coming across their feed right now,
Yeah,
right? It's not what their
right.
algorithm is bringing them. And
Yeah,
when you start going
that's
through it
true.
and wondering why, and all you have to do is talk and your phone recognizes, and then pretty soon you've got ads coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's something that they're really informed of because they're not seeking that
That's
kind of
true.
information out.
Yeah,
Not at all. If I was to sit down and have a conversation with my you know, late 20 something daughters,
yeah.
honestly, both of them be like, "Ew, I don't want to talk about that,
Yeah, no,
mom."
that's
Right?
true.
Like, why are you talking
It's
about
like
this to
they're
me?
not
Right?
worried
Yeah,
about it until they need to worry about it.
that's right.
Yeah,
And that is
so
partially our
kind of preparing
society,
them.
right? It's like,
Mhm,
and I just want to be open and honest with them too about my struggles
mhm.
and so that they're armed with the questions they can ask their
Yeah,
doctor, maybe a naturopath, maybe there are some more
yeah,
natural solutions or avenues that they want to go down,
mhm,
but questions to ask
mhm.
and actually for them to get curious about their own
Yeah.
bodies and be in
Take
tune with
charge of their
themselves.
own bodies,
Yeah,
right?
and really learn to hone in on your intuition and when something isn't right and something doesn't feel normal, because none of this is nor it feels normal, let me
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah,
That they're a little better equipped to like go into that thinking, okay, we can manage this. I
Yeah.
can deal with this,
Yeah.
right? And it's not such a load on their mental health then,
Yeah, that's a good point.
right? Because I think when you're prepared for it, like I wish I was prepared, the mental health load will be a lighter.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm able to actually get curious about what's happening with my body. I love science, so that would have been more interesting to me.
Mm.
But instead you're thrust into this fight or flight in a different way,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so it's hard to almost think logically when you're in that state sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah,
And so I
totally.
think having these conversations about, what works, what doesn't for some people, we're all so different that I think we just need to talk about all of it.
Yeah.
Like we need to bring it out in the open and we need to advocate for ourselves with our doctors
Yeah.
and with the health professionals so that we feel like we have a voice and we're not being ignored
Yeah, and just being
and not brushed
dismissed.
off and gaslit
Yeah.
along the way,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Or just
Yeah.
here, I'm gonna write you a prescription for
Yeah,
antidepressants. It's like when that's actually not what's going on. And then you go
exactly.
on antidepressants and then you deal with the bullshit you were dealing with like, okay,
Yes.
how much of this is the antidepressant? How much of this isn't? Why am I feeling
100%.
disconnected? Would I have been feeling disconnected anyway? Or
Yeah,
is now this amplifying it? Like, you
I
know,
know.
do you know who I follow? And maybe you do too. Do you know who Dr. Mary Claire is?
No.
I follow her on Instagram and I actually screenshot a couple of things.
Mhm.
She wrote a book and I think it's just coming out now, The New Menopause, but somebody had put me on to her a couple of years ago. I can't remember who. And again, I sort of feel like it's after the fact in a way because I kind of am through it.
Yeah.
But there's still things
Oh,
now and then,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I just find it really interesting, but I screenshot a couple of things because she really it can be overwhelming the amount of if you do start digging, like there's so
Oh,
much
yeah.
information out there
You can go
actually
down a
now.
rabbit hole
You
like
can, but which is actually a great problem to have, that there's a
yeah.
lot of information out there as opposed to probably
Yeah.
8 years ago, 5 years ago when there really wasn't.
Yeah.
But I screenshot a couple of things and like just she just simplifies it so well. So one of the things was your brain runs on estrogen, your heart runs on estrogen, your bones, your sleep, your ability to find your keys, your will to live, maybe. One hormone, we just let women run out of it and then we tell them to do yoga.
Oh my god, that is so
Right? No
true.
shit.
So
She also did another one. She was told it was all in your head. She ate 1,000 calories a day. She did, I don't know what that is, 3 times a week, probably working out.
yeah.
Still gained weight, still couldn't sleep, still felt like a stranger in her own body. Her doctor prescribes antidepressants, then sleeping pills, then a diet, then a hysterectomy. And no one said the word menopause, perimenopause.
Yeah, no
And this is not
kidding.
a rare story. This is the status quo. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that sums it up.
Mm,
And so, yeah, I
God,
think
me too.
just, right, come here, buddy. Come up, bub. Come. Yep, you're a big boy. You can jump. Yeah, I get it. Jumping's hard. um, so anyway, I just find like if you start to
I will put her
follow,
name in the
yeah,
show
put her,
notes so that
it's
you guys can follow her too. And I mean,
come.
it sounds like great information, but also just really like truthful, real, like no bullshit,
Yeah.
right? So I'll put her name in the show notes for
Yeah, yeah,
sure. But
exactly. And there's
yeah,
a few of them out there, but I just
yeah,
found I like hers because she really sums it up. So
yeah,
like simplifies it. And
yeah.
I imagine her book is probably I haven't read her book yet, but it probably just zeroes right in on all of those things that we
No
should know. And
kidding.
so I'm gonna probably
Yeah.
pick it up and maybe, like you said, like share it
Hmm.
with my daughter, and just kind of say, hey, if you're wondering what to expect, instead of
Yeah.
what to expect when you're expecting, it's like
What to
what
expect
to
when you're aging.
what to expect when you're depleting every fucking day.
No kidding.
Anyways.
So I just have a question for you because I have an answer to all this
Mhm.
question I'm going to ask. But
Yeah.
what was probably the hardest or the most disturbing part to you going through perimenopause? Like what was it that really kind of hit home? And even though you had an easier time with it,
Yeah.
was there something that really kind of just threw you off?
Well, it's gonna sound so vain, but it was the weight gain that came on so
Yeah, that's
fast.
not vain. It's truly
It was just kinda so here's what
you
happened.
and
I know.
millions of other
And I
women.
try to not to make that my focus anymore, and I think I'm getting better at that,
Yeah.
but at that time, so for me, the timing was right around COVID.
Mhm.
Everyone was, like, staying home and locked down and whatever, and I think we all gained weight over COVID. So I definitely gained, like, what do they call it? The COVID-15 or whatever
COVID-15,
it
I think.
was.
Yeah.
For me, it was more like the COVID-20, but I was like, "You know what? Whatever." I had been doing great
Yeah.
before that, and so it's like 20 pounds, like, it's I'll get rid of it
Yeah.
easily, and wasn't getting rid of it easily. And then probably a year and a half after that is when, that bright idea came to me to come off my pill.
Mm,
And when I say I got thrust into menopause like full tilt, I was, but the biggest thing was an additional boom, there's another 20 pounds.
yeah.
So at that point, I had like an extra 40 pounds on me
Yeah.
that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
And what that did to my mental health, that was really, really tough. And I was going through other things anyway. And so, I was already struggling, I think, but that certainly didn't help, like in
Yeah.
terms of what I felt I looked like. I didn't wanna be in pictures. I didn't like
Mm,
my skin looked different, my face looked different,
yeah.
my hair was so, that on top of it, but the weight gain was the biggest, like,
Yeah.
well, that's a fucking slap in the face. How rude.
No kidding.
So I think for me, that was the biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, in all honesty, I was going to say sleep until you mentioned that because for my mental health, like sleep is so important. And I honestly didn't realize, like, I was a probably 7, 8 hour sleeper before.
Mm.
And I'm lucky if I get 4 solid,
Still?
5 maybe. Yeah, still, like, because I overheat in bed and,
Mm.
like, it's like the 3 a.m., it's
Mhm.
like you have a hot date at 3 o'clock in the morning every fucking night. Yeah, it's annoying. But I have to say that when you say that, the weight gain was probably the biggest struggle for me
Just on your
because I
self-esteem, like
all of it. I used to teach fitness and I could, if I gained a little bit of weight, I could just drop it like that.
yeah.
And I stopped teaching fitness right around the time that I actually had a hysterectomy. And so, because I had a back injury as well. And so that was like compounded and compounded and compounded. And then the weight gain came and I struggled for probably the last 3 years. I've been struggling and I still am. I'm not going to like sugarcoat it.
Mhm.
Although I'm really happy in the skin I'm in and I
Yeah.
love myself in a different way. The weight gain, especially around the middle, is that's such a brain fuck. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie, it really screws with you and it really takes a toll on your mental health. And so at the beginning of the show here, when I was talking about how it affects our mental health, for me, that was the biggest hit for me.
Yeah.
And I'm still struggling with it, although you know, I show up and I do what I wanna do and
Yeah. I think we
I'm a
just give
better
ourselves
person.
more grace now,
I give myself more grace for sure. But that is probably one of the hardest things is when your body changes and the weight comes on and then it is impossible to lose. Now, I've been to the doctor several times. So this is where I felt really gaslit too, is that I've tried everything. I worked with a trainer twice. And I did the not diet, I don't diet, but I switched to healthy food. I don't count calories, but I made sure that I wasn't eating an you know, I've gone off sugar. I've gone off processed foods. I don't even have a lot of that in my diet.
Mhm.
And still I could not I like 5 pounds. I would budge 5 pounds.
Yeah.
After all of this work, I wasn't killing myself in the gym. I was just doing regular, you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
and 5 pounds. And I go to the doctor and she's like, well, you just have to, maybe watch your sugar intake. She was telling me all the things I was
It's
already
sort of like
doing.
your body's getting older, so you just gotta work that much harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Go for more
Like, it's
walks. Do more of this. You got to get,
uh,
exercise more.
yeah.
No, it just will not release. Like it just will not release. And then what happens is, and this is the cycle, and please, I'd love to hear from you if you feel the same way. But the cycle is you gain the weight, it's hard to lose, you're doing all the right things, and then you get so frustrated that you end up binging. You
Yeah.
end up in the same cycle that it goes along with depression and
Mhm.
isolation and all of the
Mhm.
excuse me,
Because
all of this
you
stuff.
feel, like, so out of control of your own body that you're
Yes.
just like, "Fuck it."
And you're just like, "Fuck it, I give
Yeah.
up." Like, I
Yeah.
really, truly give up. And so
Mhm.
then it's like someone just passed you a hall pass, and it's a free-for-all
Mhm.
to eat whatever you want. Or if you're an emotional eater like me, that is just it's like someone's pushing you through a door,
Mhm.
and you're just going straight back down that hole
Yeah.
of emotional eating, because this cycle of I'm trying, nothing's working, then I give up, then I'm trying and
Mhm.
nothing's working. So
Mhm.
I felt like that for so long. I am not on that roller coaster right now because I feel quite stable, even
Mhm.
though it's still hard to lose the weight. I haven't said fuck it in that way. I've said like, no, we're just
Focusing on
focusing
being
on
healthy. Yeah.
being healthy,
Yep.
eating healthy, and showing up in my life in the way I want to. And that's what's really important to me. I'm going through this, or I've gone
Mhm.
through it. And now I'm just really excited to embrace what being in midlife and getting a little older,
Mhm.
what comes with that. And that is like, I have more grace for myself. I have more wisdom. I feel so much more content in letting the things that don't serve me fall away,
Yeah.
in saying, fuck it. That's not serving me.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm letting that go.
Yeah.
Right. And so staying stuck in the mindset and swirling like that does not serve me. And so I've really let that go.
Yeah.
And
It's just shitty that um, when you're going through the perimenopause with the weight gain and all those things that are like chipping away at your self-esteem and your confidence.
mhm,
And again, everybody that you talk to, professionals, doctors, trainers, whatever, it's
mhm,
always just like, well, you're just not working hard enough. Well, you just
yeah,
got to change this. You just got to do that. And it all comes back to that, well, I just can't do this. Or
yes. You feel like you're a failure.
you're a
Yeah.
failure. And
You've done something wrong.
yeah, and it's so confusing because it's like your body's betraying you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then you do get in a bit of a funk and a
Hmm.
depression, and I certainly did. And so it was kind of all around the same time of other stuff happening
Yeah.
mentally for me and kind of like making connections and clicking. And so I feel like all of that to say I've kind of now come around to
Hmm.
being in a better place mentally, and therefore, and also understanding more about menopause and perimenopause
Hmm.
and what all of that fucking shitstorm was, and
Dumpster fire.
yeah, the dumpster fire that was, right? My 40s. But I don't know. I think that it's tough when you're going through it in the middle of it, and
Yeah.
nothing really is seeming to make sense. So
Hmm.
hopefully, like the next generation of young women, when they start to go through that time,
Hmm.
they're a little more graceful with themselves right from the start,
Hmm.
and
Exactly.
understanding, okay, here's what's coming.
Yeah.
I know what's coming. I can expect this, and
Hmm.
not questioning their sanity every
Yeah.
second because they're being gaslit,
Yeah.
you know?
And on that note, honestly, surrounding yourself with a tribe of women is so important,
Mhm.
especially during this time. So if you feel like you're starting this, or you're even on the tail end like we are, um, I think that me being open and connecting with other women during that time would have been so incredibly helpful and supportive. And
Yeah,
so I think just making connections with other women and having that open dialogue and really inviting that tribe mentality into
totally.
your life
Mhm.
will be so crucial when you're going through that.
Yeah,
So I really encourage women to build a little community around themselves. Start going to some women's groups or book club or
mhm,
whatever
mhm.
whatever suits you, or whatever feels aligned with who you are,
Yeah,
because it will really help you get through that
mhm.
period. So I think
Yeah,
that's yeah, big tip.
yeah. And
Big
even
tip.
now, like we say we're at the tail end of it, but every now and then something pops up or a little
Yeah,
hot flash
seriously, I
or
just had rage doing that. But I still I still have the odd hot, not really hot
yeah,
flash, but like sleeping at night is
yeah,
every night's a journey. It's a
yeah,
different journey. I
whatever.
never know what's gonna go.
But, like, even when you had your little, like, burst out there and
Yeah.
then she sits down, I'm like, "'Kay, slap a smile on your face, let's go." Like, But,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's just easier to come back from it maybe because you're like, "Oh, okay, I know
Exactly.
what that was."
It's easier to reel
Still have
myself in
hormones.
when I'm more graceful with myself and done some work. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, buddy.
Anyways, on that note,
Yeah.
we're gonna go dress shopping.
Oh, we are. We're gonna go shopping. You
We're
gotta,
gonna go shopping.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so again, on the heels of feeling like we don't
Yeah.
always look our
I'm
best or
gonna
feel our
squeeze into
best,
some sort of dress,
we're gonna give it
maybe.
a shot. And if not, we're just gonna say, "Fuck it,
Yeah,
let's go for
exactly. Fuck
lunch."
it, let's go for lunch. So
Yeah.
so thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And I really hope that you found some camaraderie and some resonation in this episode for sure, because we're all in this together and
Yeah.
not one of us is going to escape
Like
it alive.
literally half the population of this planet is going
Exactly.
through this.
That's
So,
right. So
yeah.
I hope you found something you can take home. And if this resonated with you, please share it with a friend and give us a rating, a review, or we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on this. And honestly, I think I'm going to make a few more clips of this episode because I just think it's so important that we talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's in a safe container, right? So
Yeah, this is safe space.
yeah, totally. We're
Look
not
at-
here to judge.
Okay,
Like
Winnie is,
we're a hot
oh, you
mess.
can't see this, but she's completely spread eagle.
Yeah,
Standing. So she's feeling safe.
exactly.
It's a safe place. Yeah.
So have a fantastic day, and thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today on another episode of Becoming Sound. If this episode resonated with you in some way, please share it with someone you care about, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It helps to get this information out to more people who may need it. If you have a sec, I would love a follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. While you're there, hit the 5-star rating and give me a review. When you're scrolling, follow me on my social platforms, and I would love to hear your comments and feedback. Have a fabulous day, lots of love and gratitude from me. Please note, the views, information, and opinions expressed during the Becoming Sound podcast series are solely those of the individuals involved. The content of this podcast is to educate, inform, and for entertainment purposes only. This podcast series and the content presented does not constitute for medical or other professional advice or services. If you are in crisis or in need of help, please contact your medical or professional provider.